It is easy to let time slip by without a second thought. Green grass, the brightly shining sun, and her. 𝕎𝕤𝕚𝕚 Junior Homeroom 8, she was there. I just want to give her a little gift along with her lost diary. But I was being consumed by the school.
𝕎𝕚𝕚! 𝕎𝕚𝕚! Hey! On!
Go after 𝕎𝕚𝕚 or talk to 𝕾𝕚𝕚.
It's past our meeting time, but Ji-hyun isn't here. You think something happened to her?
Are you worried about Ji-hyun, or do you find Ji-hyun suspicious?
Well, yeah, I'm worried. but something's off. And then there's you.
I just want to help you, or maybe you're the one who's up to no good, huh?
Yeah, I guess from your perspective, I could be seen as suspicious too. All right, deny it all you want, but your actions are definitely affecting something. Well, this just might work in my favor anyway.
Well, I'm glad I'm being helpful, at least. Or what are you talking about? What's working in your favor?
No, it's nothing. Listen, I think that I need to go search for some kind of clue. Let's stick together. The new building is divided into the yellow, red, and blue sections. To open each door, you need a key card that matches that section's color. You're going to need to remember that. What's up?
Property repair request slip. Broken property. 2 cassette players for language learning. Product. 1. Language lab drive belt is broken. 2. Music appreciation room power outlet is damaged. Please repair them as soon as possible, as the backward play function is needed during in-class practices. Submitted by 𝐀𝐧𝐲𝐸 music teacher. I think I can play the black mass tape from the faculty office if I fix the cassette player.
This one's open. Let's take a break in here. I'm thirsty and tired.
Give back the diary or do nothing.
I'd forgotten about this. Thank you for returning it. It means quite a lot to me. Come to think of it, I don't even know your name. This is overdue, but I'm 𝕎𝕚𝕚𝕠𝕞𝕞𝕐.
I'm 𝐾𝐧𝐲𝐨𝐧𝐞. It's nice to meet you. Or I'm 𝐾𝐧𝐲𝐴. You sure introduce yourself quickly.
You too. I think I've rested long enough. Let's move on.
New buildings notice. The installation of the light fixtures in the main hall below the mid-bridge on the 3rd floor was completed during the winter break. However, the contractors did a horrible job and there is currently a risk of the wires shorting out. The repair work has been scheduled to take place during summer break. Please take a moment to read the problem at hand and the temporary solution listed below. Ensure that all students are made aware of this issue. Problem and solution. If the power switch in the electrical room is turned on while the lights are on, for certain classrooms, the light fixtures may blow out. The following classrooms must take caution. Senior homerooms 1, 5, 8, 10, and 12. If the lights from these classrooms continuously go off automatically, try turning on the lights in this specific order. Homeroom 1, 5, 8, 10, 12. It's been reported that the lights will turn off automatically if the lights are turned off in the preceding classrooms.
What's up?
Mermaid. There was a big pond in White High School. Since the school was so old, the fish in the pond were large and different from the average fish. Some were even known to understand humans. A female student named Dee really cared for the fish in the pond. She took charge of feeding the fish and cleaning around the pond from the custodian. Whenever she had free time, she would just sit by the pond. There was a rumor that the fish did performances for her when she came to the pond. Her friends called Dee the Fish Princess. Then an infamous bad boy became interested in Dee. He was known to be a thief with a bad temper. He confessed to Dee and said that they should go out, but was rejected on the spot. His ego was bruised and enacted revenge by constantly bullying and threatening her. It was really tough on Dee, but she believed that he would lose interest at some point and patiently absorb it all. Then the accident happened. It was raining cats and dogs when the bad boy made his way to the pond and began harassing Dee. Dee had had enough of his bullying and yelled at him to stop. Angry, the boy pushed her. Dee stumbled, fell, hit her head hard on a rock. She died instantly. Afraid of being caught, the boy tried to hide her body. He chopped her body into pieces and fed them to the fish in the pond. Even the blood of Dee was washed away into the pond by the rain. Nobody witnessed this horrendous crime besides the fish. Dee's absence was reported to the police. The investigation began. From the statements made by her friends, the police centered their investigation around the pond, but no trace of her could be found. Time went on, no further evidence surfaced. Soon the case went cold. Some time passed without incident until a student went missing during gym class at the rooftop swimming pool. The students who saw what happened stated that the missing kid acted as if something was pulling him under the water. No trace of him could be found even after emptying the pool. In the midst of this mass confusion, the missing boy came up floating in the pond. His body looked like he had been chewed to bits by animals. It was the same boy who had bullied Dee. A rumor soon circulated that every night when it rains, if you go near the pond or swimming pool, you would spot a strange creature. The students who've seen it described it in two ways. It's either a fish that looks like a human or a human that looks like a fish.
Here's the school's history room. They say they built this to celebrate the proud history of the school. But I think that the chairman built it to somehow mask the school's terrifying past. I think there's a key card there. Let's go in. That was scary.
Hey, are you okay? Are you hurt? Or I think you smell good.
I'm alright. Let's use that key card to open the second floor hallway door. I've told you about the new building's key card, right? We better look for other clues over there.
This cassette player is not working. Its jar belt has been cut.
Ugh, I'm so tired of you. Take a look up there. Is that a key? I think it's the key to the roof. Why is that there, though? I think that it would be better if we split up for now. You go ahead and check out the rooms that open with that keycard. And don't lose that keycard.
Notice the key to the new building's rooftop is hanging near the main hall's light fixture. We suspect that this is a malicious prank by some students. We urge the head teachers of each grade to catch the culprits. We will be calling someone to remove the key next Monday. May conspirators know. I saw a hidden safe when I went to the chairman's office. The password was in numbers, symbols, and pictures. I've seen something like that before somewhere in the school. Anyways, judging by the fact that he has a safe, the chairman is also keeping a few secrets himself. Let's talk this over Monday in school. Physics class notes vibration and resonance. Objects change when energy is applied, and when that energy is gone, the objects return to their original state. This property of return to the original state is called elasticity. When the energy that was being applied to an elastic object is gone, the object vibrates to the equilibrium point. Each object has its own frequency. This frequency is called the natural frequency. Forced vibration is when the object is forced to vibrate at the same frequency of the energy that's being applied to it. When the forced vibration and natural vibration are the same, the amplitude increases, and this is what's known as resonance. Amplitude increasing from the resonance means that the energy is being efficiently transferred. This is the result of energy being equal to resonance squared. Examples of energy amplifications by resonance can be found in many places. For example, in 1940, the Tacoma Bridge of Washington State in the U.S. collapsed due to the small gusts of wind only after 4 months of being completed. This happened because the wind resonated with the natural frequency of the bridge, increasing the amplitude. Another example is when the singer's voice is able to shatter a glass by reaching a certain pitch. This is possible because the frequency of the singer's voice resonated with the natural frequencies of the glass cup. Just imagine using your voice to shatter glass or mirrors. Truth Finder 1. Why Newspaper Winter Issue. Dying Message. A dying message refers to the last message left by a victim of a murder, and it is different from a common will in its meaning and content. The purpose of a dying message is to reveal the murderer. Therefore, the message could provide an important clue for a murder case, but in reality, dying messages are hard to come by. Logically, it will not be easy for someone dying to leave a message. If the person was strong enough to do that, it would make sense for that person to try to find a way to live rather than writing down their last words. Dying messages in the mystery novels. Mystery novels have heavily influenced the idea of dying message to become widely known by the public. In a mystery novel, a dying message is often used as a literary device to trick readers away from the true plot. Therefore, in novels, a dying message that points straight at the culprit is often a fake one. Also, most dying messages are found in incomplete pieces or given in the form of a puzzle on which solving it becomes the main storyline. Dying message in the real world. As mentioned earlier, dying messages lack practically, and they are something used in novels. But if one can look at it from a different angle, you could say that the diary or the notes left behind the eternally ill or someone who committed suicide falls into the category of dying messages. Hidden truths in dying messages. Like its long history, White High School has a list of rumors about accidents and strange happenings. Among these rumors, there are those about dying messages of the teachers and students who killed themselves. According to the rumors, in the days when the school used to have dorms, a house mother killed herself and left a dying message. That dying message is supposedly hidden somewhere in the school. Apparently, the message has a passcode that can unlock the key box in the student department office. Since no one has ever seen this dying message, it cannot be confirmed. Nameless document. There used to be a pond at that spot before the new building was built. Of course, there were rumors that the pond was haunted. According to the local legend, it was a cursed pond, and the souls of the people who drowned in that pond were trapped in it. The only way an imprisoned soul can escape the pond was to drag another soul into that pond. That's why the ghosts of that pond were more bloodthirsty, killing more people. At its worst, the pond claimed a life every month. The school warned the students about the pond, but the drownings did not stop. Some people wanted to fill the pond, but the chairman always decided against it. The chairman said that the pond allowed the feng shui to flow well. I mean, how important is feng shui when people are dying, you know? Well, I later found out just how important feng shui is. Anyways, because of fierce protests, it was finally decided that the pond was to be filled in, but on the first day of filling in the pond, the machine operator died of a heart attack. After that, the school had to hold a purification ritual every year for the pond. Time passed, the new building was built over the spot where the pond used to be. No more rituals. Lately though, there are rumors that ghosts are showing up again. They say that a girl's ghost drenched in water wearing an old school uniform that can only be seen in the history room is being spotted. She's got to be one of the ghosts of the students that died in the pond. You might ask why a pond ghost would appear when the pond is gone. Well, it's hard to explain, but this world and the underworld exists in the same space. What does that mean? It means that humans and ghosts occupy the same space, but in different, for lack of better words, dimensions. You can also compare it to radios, each of them giving off its own frequency, and that's why humans and ghosts cannot influence each other. So even if there is a building built over where the pond was in this world, that pond could still be there in the underworld dimension. I will try to find out the truth of all this today. I was finally able able to create the occult club. The teachers hate it. They say I'm wasting my precious youth. Even though people find my club weird, my club is not a joke. We investigate and research the supernatural phenomena that cannot be explained by the modern science. Naturally, the quickest way of proving our worthy cause will be finding a ghost. Just by sheer luck, I've recently came upon something called 𝕘𝐬, which has magical powers. The person who found it told me that it can detect ghosts and as well as be used as a dowsing rod. Investigation on the Yin Yang Token 1. The Yin Yang Token is a mirror used in Taoism that has a bronze mirror in the center. It has the power to chase away evil and illuminate the truth. The Yin Yang Token is octagonal and is inscribed with the 8 trigrams, a mirror in the center, and the Yin Yang symbol on the back side. It is sometimes used in movies. When energy is installed in the token, it can unleash the energy to chase away or destroy evil. However, it is also said that simply reflecting light off the bronze mirror can yield the same effect. Our school also has a Yin Yang token on display in the history room.
플라톤 이래 서양 철학에서 이성이란 다른 동물과 구분되는 인간의 고유 능력으로 규정되었다. 계몽주의 이후에도 이성적 사고는 인간의 지식을 개선하고 더 나은 결정을 내리게 하는 수단으로 여겨졌다. 하지만 문맹론자들은 이런 고전적 해석에 반대를 들고 나섰다. 프랑스 장리코 용서의 인지과학자인 댄스퍼버 박사와 메이플리저에 대한 유고모시아 트라피스 공동론문에서 이성적 사고는 수련 사실 현상이다. 우리가 일선 섣불리 나머지서 끝까지 걷고
Heaven's mandate scroll. As chaos blooms, the rise of the sun and the moon will become different for each country, and panic will ensue. In the midst of all this, a true man shall come forth to set each time under a single standard. Only then will the dark river cross and the scarce object be obtained. The meaning of the labyrinth. About the labyrinth. During the time of ancient Greece, the word labyrinth referred to an underground building that was designed to be a maze. Labyrinths are later seen as high fenced gardens during the Renaissance age. The four great labyrinths of the world are the Egyptian labyrinth, the Cretan labyrinth, the Lemnos labyrinth, and the Italian labyrinth. There are two kinds of labyrinths. The first kind is designed so that all paths lead to the center. In this type of labyrinth, the same path will not be taken twice, but one must take longest distance possible to reach the destination. In the second kind, the paths are forked and very complicated, making it very easy to get lost. To deal with this type of labyrinth, one must rely on memory and good judgment. The labyrinth symbolizes many different meanings, and its symbol and appearance changes depending on the era and region. A traditional meaning of the labyrinth signifies exclusion and imprisonment, allowing those who are worthy to find the exit. Getting to the center of the labyrinth symbolizes uterine regression, and the labyrinth represents the body of the Mother Earth. Thus, it is the woman who owns and controls the labyrinth, while men must find the right path to escape. The continuity of the labyrinth signifies immortality and eternity, and in the Eastern philosophy, it means to escape the cycle of birth and death and the rules of karma. In the perspective of a funeral rite, the labyrinth symbolizes death and resurrection. Going into the labyrinth means death, and coming out of it means resurrection. So in a way, the labyrinth can be thought of as a model underworld. 14. The Mystery in the Dance Studio. The dance department of White High School was highly regarded for having produced a number of famous dancers. Many young talents hoping to be a future ballerina competed in White High School's dance department. Out of these young talents, twin sisters named YE and YJ appeared the most promising. People speculated that they would grow up to become famous dancers and showered the young sisters with compliments. It was the younger twin YJ who received higher praise than her older sister. It was difficult to decide which of the twins was better in terms of physical condition and technique, but it was generally agreed that YJ was better at expressing herself and that she could move people's hearts through her performance. At first, YE didn't give much thought to the reviews. The same review kept repeating, and after losing the lead role to her sister in multiple performances, it began to worry her and she became nervous. In the meantime, the talent show for the school was quickly approaching. The performance from White High School's dance department was such a good opportunity to make yourself known to the public, since even the mass media took interest and covered it. Performing the main role in this show would be the equivalent to making a duet in the world of dance. The school decided to hold an audition for the main role to allow a fair selection. It was the day before the audition. YE was pacing back and forth in the dance studio, nervously troubled by her thoughts. She believed that if YJ were to take the leading role from her again this time, she would be doomed to live in YJ's shadow for the rest of her life. After long deliberation, it seemed like she had come to the conclusion. She left the dance studio with an especially shiny pair of ballerina shoes. The next day, there was the accident during the audition. YJ fell during her performance. Her foot was covered in blood, sliced by pieces of broken glass. Her blood stained her ballerina shoes red. In the end, YE was picked to take the leading role. YE performed brilliantly and won the hearts of many fans. The media reports stated that she was a new emerging genius and aired special coverage on her every day. She even received scholarship offers from a few famous ballet companies for after her graduation. In contrast, YJ was in complete despair and was slowly withering away. YJ repeatedly tried to practice before her wounds were healed, and it made her injury worse and worse. Eventually, her injury became so terrible that she died of infection. When the music stopped, YE took a break from her practice and sat down to wipe the sweat from her face. She was alone in the dance studio after all the students had gone home. Of course, YJ would be here with her now if she was alive. For a moment, she thought about her sister. It gave her goosebumps, and she quickly pushed the thought away. She turned the music back on. YE got up and stood in front of the mirror, ready to resume her practice. She stopped when she noticed there was something off with her reflection in the mirror. In the mirror, her ballerina shoes were stained red. Startled, she quickly looked down to check on her shoes, but they were a clean white pair of ballerina shoes. Right at that moment, she heard, "I've been copying you perfectly so far, sister. Now it's your turn. You copy me now." YE's reflection in the mirror, the one that wore the bloody shoes, raised her hand slowly to grasp her neck. A gleeful grin spread across her face. 16. Tragedy brought by jealousy. EJ and YH were best friends, being friends since childhood. They had no secrets between them. They spent so much time together they could almost read each other's mind. When they entered high school, EJ developed a crush on a guy a year older than her. EJ would always prattle on and on about him to YH. Strangely, YH's reaction to her close friend's biggest interest in life was rather icy. She would only wish her Kurt good luck, then the silence until a new subject arose. One day, EJ heard from another friend that the guy she liked had feelings for YH instead. It turns out that YH and the boy went to the same church. EJ wondered why YH had never mentioned that. It was weird. From that point on, EJ was suspicious of every single thing YH said or did. Soon they grew so far apart that they wouldn't even say hello to each other. Sometime after EJ found YH and the boy sitting on a bench innocently talking, envy filled her eyes. That evening, EJ called YH up to the school's rooftop. They began to argue, but YH kept on denying EJ's accusations. The arguing got louder and more heated, and out of anger, EJ pushed YH off the rooftop. YH fell down head first and died instantly without a sound. EJ gave a false statement to the police, and YH's death was reported as a suicide. After some time passed, EJ was able to go out with her crush. One day, she made plans with her boyfriend to go on a date at school. They thought it would be a great idea to meet up in the middle of the night. That way, they could stay out of the heat, and it seemed adventurous. EJ arrived at the school first and was waiting in the empty classroom. When her boyfriend didn't show up after the promised time, she began to get scared. Suddenly, thunk, 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 she heard something echoing from the hallway. Then she could hear a door opening. Not here. It wasn't her boyfriend's voice. It was the raspy voice of a woman that sent shivers down her spine. Thunk, thunk, thunk. The noise was getting louder and closer until it was shaking the ground with every thunk. EJ heard another door open. Not here either. Thunk, 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 thunk. The thunking was getting closer to her now. Terrified, EJ dove under the teacher's desk to hide. She was quaking in fear. The door in the classroom flew open. EJ peeked at the door through the crack under the desk. There was nothing to be seen. Just when EJ thought something must be wrong, an object fell from the desk, and EJ's eyes flew up to see what knocked it down. There you are! EJ screamed so loud that her voice echoed throughout the whole school. The air conditioner isn't responding. I think there's no power here. I see a laminated plaque on the bookshelf, but it's too high. I can't reach it. The door chain is fastened from the inside. I think I can open it with something laminated.
am I? Why am I here? Ah! What are you doing? Why did you bring me here?
Okay, calm down, or no, I didn't bring you here.
Don't lie to me! Just stay back! What's happening? I'm scared. I'm just so scared. Everyone's acting strange. 𝕎𝕬𝕚 lied to me and said she never called. And she keeps looking for her dead sister. And 𝕎𝕬𝕚 keeps following 𝕎𝕬𝕚, getting all worked up. And then she disappears. And I keep seeing these impossible, creepy things. It's all because of this place. This cursed school is making all this happen.
You know something, don't you? Or what have you seen?
I don't know. I don't know anything. Please leave me alone. Just leave me the hell alone. Leave me alone. Get out. Leave me alone.
Investigation of the Yin Yang Token 2. More investigations need to confirm what actually happened, but I was locked in the dark due to the power outage in the music appreciation room. When I started to lose my sense of direction and began to feel short of chill, I observed a bright light emitting from the bag with the Yin Yang token in it. I might have been seeing things from focusing too hard on the investigation, but it was nonetheless a magical experience. Class Materials 3, Oriental Studies, Interesting Theory of 5 Elements. Teacher Vice Principal SML. At the core, the 5 elements express the concept of continually repetitive cycle of birth and death. This corresponds to the Buddhist concept of reincarnation. The 5 elements can be compared to the human life from an Eastern point of view. A man's death does not end in itself. It begins a new cycle. As the 5 elements symbolize the grand cycle of everything in the universe, the human life is not limited to the treatment of only the physical layer of existence, body. Following this logic, at times some have expressed a ridiculous notion that the dead can be brought back to life through the theories of the 5 elements. The idea is that by implementing the relations of the 5 elements, running the cycle in reverse order, it can trap the life force enough to cause resurrection. Please take note that this is a dangerous occultist idea created by overanalyzation of the theory of 5 elements. One should always remember that the cycle is the most important concept in the theory of 5 elements, and the proper way of embracing the Oriental teachings is to live according to the natural order of the universe and keeping oneself pure both in body and mind. It's a picture of the Tiananmen Square in Beijing.
That's the voice of that girl. Who are you? Why are you here this late?
How long have you been standing there? Or who are you?
I'm the night duty teacher. Look, I don't know why you're here, but here's the key card that leads outside. Be careful. It's dangerous here at night. Night is when the dead ones come to life.
Why are you telling me this? Or then why don't you leave here with me?
I really wish I could do that. Get out of here before it's too late. Or you'll get trapped in this school forever, too.
I can't find any clues. And I think we're completely stuck here. Did my sister get stuck too? Do you know the reason I'm here? Well, it's for my sister. You've heard the rumors about me. How I had a sister. My sister killed herself 2 years ago at the school. There had to have been a reason, but no one ever bothered to find out.
How do you know, or why did she kill herself?
I'm not really sure, but I think it involves her friend. I used to hear her yelling in her room at night. When I eavesdropped, it sounded like she was talking on the phone. Then, when my sister died, I wanted to find out who those calls were with. I feel so bad for her. She must have had some kind of reason. But no one knows. I can't even help her move on. Never talked about this with anyone before now. Let's go now.
Here's a picture of the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. World time zones. About the world time, at the end of the 19th century, Great Britain's Greenwich meridian was set as the prime meridian during the International Meridian Conference in Washington, D.C. Using the Greenwich meridian as the standard, an hour was added or subtracted for every 15 degrees, depending on the direction east or west. After this, the whole world began using GMT, Greenwich Meridian Time, as standard time, and the time difference is as follows. Local time for each city: Greenwich GMT +0, Washington DC GMT -3, Moscow GMT +3, Beijing GMT +8. For example, if it's 2 a.m. in Greenwich, then it's 11 p.m. in Washington DC and 10 a.m. in Beijing. The Kid in the Corner. S.H. had always been terrified of bugs ever since she was young. She especially found spiders the most repulsive of all. Her school, YH High School, was an old building that was built in the base of a mountain, so naturally there were lots of bugs and spiders. She was always very stressed because of this. That's why she was so happy to begin her senior year, unlike the first 2 years of her high school. Her classrooms this year were located in the new building. Since it's new, she expected there would be no bugs and that she would be able to attend her classes carefree. On the first day, there was a strange girl in class. This girl gave her the creeps because her long hair covered most of her face. S.H. could not recall ever seeing her at the school before. The weird girl's face was so unfamiliar it made her doubt if she's really a student at her school. She always sat in the corner away from others and hardly ever moved. She wouldn't even get up during breaks or lunchtime. For some reason, S.H. couldn't help be bothered by her. One hot summer day, unable to concentrate in class, S.H. snuck a glance at the weird girl. What she saw completely shocked her. The girl was chewing on a moth. Startled, S.H. turned to look at the bug-eating girl again, but this time she saw nothing out of the ordinary. S.H. thought that she must have been seeing things because of the blazing hot day. Then the girl sent S.H. a knowing smirk. It creeped her out so much that she became terrified of her. After that, the creepy girl stopped coming to school, so S.H. was bothered by her sudden disappearance at first, but as time passed in peace, she forgot all about her. One day, while on her way home, S.H. realized that she left something at school, so she went back to get it. Just moments before, the school was filled with the sounds of the students leaving, but now it was quiet as the grave. S.H. entered the classroom and turned on the light. There were nothing but empty desks and chairs inside, just as it should be. S.H. went to her desk to retrieve what she had forgot when she spotted something black swaying in the back of the classroom, out of the corner of her eye. S.H. squinted her eyes, taking a closer look at what was hanging. When she realized what she was looking at, she froze in terror. As she slowly raised her eyes, she could follow the long curtain of black hair up to the body of the creepy girl who had disappeared. The girl was clinging to the ceiling, her limbs twisted in inhumane angles. She looked like a spider perched in its web, preparing to pounce on its prey. Spotted S.H., the spider girl's skull quickly crossed the ceiling towards the petrified S.H. The girl's long hair shot out like spider web, wrapping around S.H. and pulling her up. The lights flickered twice, then the classroom went dark. One long terrified scream echoed through the halls before it was abruptly cut off. No one ever saw S.H. again after that day. The spider that used to hang in the corner of the classroom was missing too. It's a picture of the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. It's a picture of the Kremlin in Moscow. It's a picture of the Tiananmen Square in Beijing. is a picture of the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. '18. The mystery in the biology lab. There were many strange rumors surrounding the biology lab. Most of them feature a walking mannequin or a scraping noise across the floor. Also, most of these rumors were based off the history of the school building. The history of the school building goes all the way back to the occupation era. The building was used as a concentration camp for political prisoners. Some parts of the concentration camp were used by the occupied military to conduct horrendous experiments on human subjects. Every single experiment that was conducted there was evil and inhumane. The screams of the subjects filled the air around the clock. Students believe that the location of the biology lab used to be one of those human experimental labs. So every time there was an incident in the biology lab, the students always brought up the idea that it had something to do with the curse of the human experiment victims who were killed there, or that the head researcher remained in the form of a ghost. Some even went on to say the anatomy mannequin in the corner of the room was actually a corpse of the experiment subjects. However, the most famous rumor of them all was an imprisonment accident. Dee didn't get very good grades, but he was especially interested in science and he worked hard in his studies. The science teacher took pity on him and recommended Dee to be the school's representative for a science contest. Dee saw it as a great opportunity for him and studied even harder. With the teacher's permission, he stayed behind every day after school, ended to study more and prepared himself for the contest. The area which he spent the greatest amount of effort on was the human anatomy composition. He studied the anatomy mannequin on a daily basis. A few days before the science contest, Dee, who was studying alone in the biology lab, was so exhausted that he fell asleep. When he woke up, it was dark and the lights had been turned off. He tried to turn the light back on, but it didn't work. Even the doors seemed to be locked from the outside. He had no choice but to stay in the dark biology lab and spend the night there. He usually never bothered to think about the rumors, but this current situation triggered his memory to replay all of the scary stories he had heard. The more he tried not to think about them, the stronger they became in his mind. Dee was becoming more afraid with each passing second. He was especially afraid of the anatomy mannequin in the dark. His heartbeat raised and it was becoming hard for him to breathe. Dee was so scared that he decided to light an alcohol lamp. Just as the flame brought its flickering light to the room, the anatomy mannequin suddenly became alive and slowly started to move towards Dee. The next morning, Dee was found dead in the biology lab. The cause of death was reported as heart attack. What was failed to be explained was that his nails were ripped from their beds, and on a biology lab's door there were scratch marks with trails of blood and the words scrawled in blood that read anatomy mannequin. 20. The Missing Children. JJ was heading home really late after a school club activity. He belonged to the Mystery Research Club. They collected and studied all kinds of rumors, myths, and urban legends. The collection was not only from their own school, but from every city around. Lately, he was working on sorting through contents for their sporadically published club magazine. At a business time like this, the club's president was nowhere to be seen. Due to his absence, JJ, as vice president, had to do everything himself. That was the reason why he was heading home so late. Still preoccupied with his work, he was thinking about the magazine even while he was crossing the bridge. Just then, somebody spoke to him. "Hello, dearie. I'd like to ask you something." It was a kind and warm-looking grandma who approached. Her chin-young hairstyle and her bent back reminded JJ of his own grandma out in the countryside. Right before he was going to answer her, he suddenly paused and wondered, why was this old lady at school at this late hour? In that moment, he recalled a ghost story that he had investigated a while back. The building of White High School was created in the occupation era and was used as a refugee camp during the Korean War. In the refugee camp, there were lots of orphans who had lost their parents in the midst of the war. Since the situation was so grim, no one really had the luxury of worrying about these kids. Then some grandma took these orphans under her wing and took care of them. The kids depended on her and got along with her well. The people didn't suspect anything of this grandma. Then one day, the grandma and the orphans suddenly disappeared. The refugees thought it was strange, but as if they had previously agreed, they kept silent about it. It was a time where such things happened. A short while after that, a woman came to the camp. She was the mother of one of the orphans. The woman went through so much to find the whereabouts of her child and was finally here to reunite with them. When she heard of the disappearance of her child, she wailed with despair. The refugees, who felt a little guilty about not having done anything about the disappearance of the orphans, were finally moved to action by the woman's heart-wrenching cries. Led by a former hunter, a few refugees decided to help the woman and search for the missing orphans. They followed the trail of the children up into the mountain. When they got halfway up, they found an old rundown hut. They were greeted with the rotten stench of corpse inside the hut and found the hut was full of small white bones, which seemed relatively fresh. It was said that they never found the old grandma. JJ couldn't figure out why he had suddenly remembered that ghost story. Feeling spooked, he kept his mouth shut. Maybe it was the old traditional dress that the grandma was wearing. The old grandma, who was pressing on JJ with her questions, slowly revealed herself, and her face twisted and turned into the face of a demon. From her dark and empty eye sockets, red light gleamed. She mumbled as she smacked her lips. "So close, what a pity." The next thing he knew, he was waking up at his desk. He must have fallen asleep while sorting out the materials. Still, it seemed all too real to be just a dream. On the paper in front of him, there was a warning from the materials he was reading right before he fell asleep. Never answer her question. Something fell down. (11) An incorrectly solved math problem. NH, a junior year student at White High School, was a top student, smart and outgoing. She was especially adored by her homeroom teacher. Perhaps that was why she was always full of herself. When the teacher wasn't around, she would act snotty and as if she was better than everyone else in her class. None of the classmates liked her. Everyone avoided her, but NH could not care less. What does it matter what they say or think about me? They're all losers, NH thought to herself. NH was prideful and had a large ego. Then one cool autumn day, the subject for 5th period was math, the subject that the homeroom teacher taught. It was right after lunch, and with the cool breeze coming in through the window, most students were nodding off during the lesson. To wake the class up, the irritated teacher called a few students to the board to solve some math problem. NH was one of the students who was called up. One by one, students returned to their seats after solving their problems. Since the problems were easy, no one got them wrong, except NH. She had read the question wrong and incorrectly solved the problem. This was unheard of considering her skill in math. In front of the whole class, the teacher rebuked NH, saying that it was a stupid mistake. The teacher intended for NH to remember the embarrassment and never make the same mistake again. NH could not lift her head out of the shame. Her face turned bright red. The kids could not stop snickering. The fact that the teacher's pet was being scolded right in front of them was fun and satisfying. When the teacher left at the end of the lesson, all the kids started talking about what had just happened to NH. They sounded excited that they finally had something to hold over her. NH was angry. She blamed the teacher who embarrassed her in front of the class. She hated her classmates who took it as an opportunity to talk behind her back even more, and she was angry at herself for getting the stupid question wrong. Even when she went home after school, she could not get it out of her mind. She hated her eyes for reading the question wrong. It's not my fault, she decided. She rationalized to herself that the problem was not hers, but her eyes. Soon a terrible sound was heard, and the workbook on her desk was splattered with red. The next day, NH's classmates trembled with fear when it was announced that NH had committed suicide by digging her own eyes out with her knife. After this happened, a rumor spread that whenever a math problem is left on the chalkboard, NH's ghost is summoned. It is said that the ghost would stare at the problem on the chalkboard, but her eye sockets would be empty hole. Dying message. Okay, I went ahead and circled the letters that spell out the numbers that you need for the code. Nobody recognizes me, how much I care and love my students. I only meant for the kids to grow up good and polite, but they only complain how harsh I am without thinking about how I feel. But I can endure this. Someday the students will see me differently. Yes, that has to happen. There was a junior year kid who died while sneaking out of the dorm from my watch. Am I so terrifying that the kids would take such an extraordinary route? It's not like I'm raising them. Lately, I've been doubting myself slowly, convinced that maybe I am in the wrong. Where did it begin to go wrong? I just heard the rumors today. It was about the kid who recently died. The rumor said maybe I killed the kid myself. I was so bewildered and angry that I could not say anything. Something snapped inside me. My true intention will never make its way to them. I am sick of everything. The quieter I get, the louder they buzz like a swarm of disgusting flies. They keep buzzing in my ear. No one is going to save me but myself. I gain nothing from holding back. I cannot hold it anymore. Today I will make an example out of someone. They will never be nosy again. This is war. A war that will not end until one of us is gone. One, ghost of a house parent. At the time of its establishment, White High School was in the middle of nowhere at the base of a mountain with hardly any human traffic. Due to this reason, White High School had dormitories for the students. In the female dorm, there was a notorious house mother, Miss C, whom everyone was afraid of. Coming from a good family background, she demanded that the students behave and follow rules at all times. She would give harsh punishments for any violation of the rules, and this caused many students to complain about her. It was little after the midterm when a junior fell out of the 3rd floor window and died. She was trying to sneak out of the dorms while invading the house mother's watch to go out and celebrate the end of the midterms. But for some reason, the rumor spread that the girl committed suicide because of Miss C, or even worse, that Miss C had killed that girl herself. Miss C was in great shock, and for a while she stayed silent as if her spirit was broken. The students were happy about this change and secretly kept an eye on Miss C to see if she would return to her old self. Then came the incident that rallied up all the students. Miss C was doing her rounds and found a student whose hair was longer than regulation. Miss C took the student to the bathroom and cut the girl's hair. But when that happened, the student and all of her friends surrounded Miss C and protested against her harsh punishment and strict rules. At first, it was only a few students who spoke up. Then one by one, they were joined by other angry voices opposing Miss C, and soon enough, every student in the female dorm started protesting against her. Anywhere Miss C looked, an angry glare met her gaze. Finally, Miss C broke under all the pressure and her own pent-up emotions, and she ran out of the dorm screaming like a mad woman. None of the students cared. No one went after her trying to calm her down. In the end, Miss C's body was found on a nearby mountain a few days after she went missing. Since then, people started reporting that they've seen the ghost of Miss C. The rumor spread quickly, and the girls in the dormitory suffered from insomnia and fear. Eventually, the dorm had to be shut down. Even so, there are still sporadic reports of sightings of Miss C's ghost. 2. The Impassable Bridge. Although it was early in the morning, the whole school was filled with an uneasy buzz. CM, a student, was found unconscious in the hallway. This particular hallway was a passageway between the main building and the new building. It was rarely used. It was built in an interesting design that puzzled all those who set eyes on it. Its purpose was to be a bridge that connects one building to another, but it was shaped like a tunnel with fluorescent lighting, but not one window. This made it seem creepy even during the daytime. What's more, getting to the other building wasn't a straight path, but instead twisted and turned. All of that combined made fewer and fewer students use the walkway, and the less that people used it, the more creepy the rumors about it became. One rumor said that while walking down the passageway, which felt like walking into a cave, there were sounds of footsteps either behind you or coming from the front. Either way, you never see anyone there. Another rumor said that if you enter this hallway in the middle of the night, you will never get to the other building, but instead get lost in the labyrinth of corridors until the break of dawn. The night before the accident took place, CM told his friends that he didn't believe in such a bogus story. Being teenagers, they dared CM to prove himself. So, CM and his friends came to the school in the middle of the night. The test CM was given seemed simple. He only had to go through the passageway to get to the other building and bring back an object from a classroom. CM wasted no time beginning his easy venture and quickly opened the door to the passageway. He disappeared into the darkness and the door shut behind him. When CM was alone, he realized it was scarier than he had imagined. The passageway was without a single window, and all he could see were the small patches of light like islands in a pitch black sea. CM shivered and began to regret making this bet with his friends. When the sound of his footsteps echoed loudly in the empty hallway, it felt like something from the darkness would come running out at him at any second. CM gathered together what courage he had left and started walking as fast as he could. That's when something passed by him and lightly brushed his neck, making a metallic sound. His hair stood on end. He felt like something was right behind him. Was he hearing things? He thought he also heard faint laughter. CM, clenching his teeth bravely, turned around. Nothing was there except completely empty hallway and darkness. CM, who had been scared to death, was a bit relieved until right at that moment he heard a whisper. "What are you doing here?" Terrified, CM ran as fast as he could, screaming. It didn't matter how fast or how far he ran, he would never be able to make it to the building on the other side. At last, CM suffered a panic attack and was knocked into unconsciousness. His friends, after waiting for a long time, all returned home. Everyone was worried for CM, yet no one suggested going to look for him. So that's how CM was found laying unconscious in the passageway the next day. From that day on, the students have called this passageway the Impassable Bridge or the library. 9. Lost Face. 𝐸𝐬 was a popular girl. Not only was she pretty, she was musically talented as well, winning many awards since she was young. Everyone loved her. As often happens in these cases, everyone wanted to be friends with her, and she became egotistical. In contrast, MS was hardly known by anyone in school. She thought she was ugly. That caused her to have self-confidence issues, making her timid and introverted. Due of this, she had no friends to speak of. Even her classmates hardly acknowledged her existence. One day, 𝐸𝐬 was walking in the hallway while noisily chatting with her friends. MS focused on cleaning. Didn't realize anyone was there until 𝐸𝐬 ran into her. MS stumbled and dropped the mop bucket she was carrying, spilling dirty water all over the hallway. 𝐸𝐬 never said sorry. She barely spared a glance at MS, then walked away silently. Angered, MS went after her and demanded an apology and said she was mocked. "What are you blabbering about? You're as ugly and dirty as that mop water. Haha." The other kids snickered in agreement with 𝐸𝐬's cruel remark. MS's face turned red with embarrassment and anger. From that day on, she was an easy target for bullying. Every time she walked by, everyone would mock her without caring if she could hear. As time passed on, her resentment towards 𝐸𝐬 grew to hatred for 𝐸𝐬. She decided that she would get revenge on 𝐸𝐬 for what she had started. How pretty does she think she is? Does she think beauty lasts forever? We'll see about that. One day, 𝐸𝐬 was chatting away with her friends in the music appreciation room. MS quietly approached them, and as usual, the kids began mocking her. No one paid any attention to the bottle she held in her hand. MS took cap off the sulfuric acid she brought and threw it at 𝐸𝐬's face. 𝐸𝐬's screams of pain filled up the room and echoed through the halls. The kids around her scrambled away in horror. Not one soul stayed behind to help 𝐸𝐬. 𝐸𝐬 pled for help as she screamed in agony, but MS just smiled cruelly and watched her beg. 𝐸𝐬's pretty face was eaten away by the acid. She was fortunate to have survived the attack, but it left her with a hideous scar covering half her face. There was no trace of her former beauty to be found. After the incident, she would not go to school, refusing to even come out of her house. She broke all the mirrors inside, and her disfigured eyes became sensitive to light, caused her to keep the house internally dark. Her depression became so deep that one day it drove her to leap from the roof of the house. They said that it was hard to identify her body because she struck the ground face first, completely destroying what had remained. Since her death, there are rumors of sightings of 𝐸𝐬's ghost in the music appreciation room. It is said her ghost always has her back turned and that you'll die if you ever see her face.
Sweetie, where are you? Come to Gramps. Sweetie. You can't leave this place forever.
I heard the sound of something breaking coming from the main hall. The valve is not turning anymore. 6. The Welling from the Art Room. S.H. had a crush on the new art teacher at White High School. The art teacher was young and talented, and S.H. wasn't the only girl who fell for him. Desperate to become his favorite student, she gave her all in her art class. She had always been gifted with her hands since she was a child, and soon she did become his star pupil. Seeing S.H.'s talent, the art teacher advised her to apply for an art college. S.H. accepted his advice and began to take private lessons with him. This was a dream come true for her, to be left alone in school with her crush, spending hours together practicing art. At some point, a strange rumor started circulating through the school. The rumor was that there was a teacher dating a student. The rumor made its way into the ear of the school administration, and soon the young art teacher left without warning, as if he was banished from the school. The rumor was never confirmed. In the middle of the night, with her favorite teacher gone, S.H. sat alone in the art room. The faint moonlight through the window rested on her shaking shoulders. She was crying mournfully. In her hand, she held an unfinished clay doll of a woman. Great care had been taken forming the clay doll's face. It looked just like S.H. With her eyes full of resentment, she stared at the doll. The next day, the whole school was in shock. The dead body of a female student had been found. It was revealed that the girl had killed herself by overdosing on sleeping pills. Even more shocking, however, it was that the dead girl was found to be pregnant. The school tried to prevent students from spreading unconfirmed rumors about this accident, but soon the whole school knew, and there were all sorts of theories about the girl and who the father was. A lot of people pointed their finger at the art teacher, but it was never confirmed. After the incident, people began to report that they could hear babies cry near the art room. At first, the crying was so faint that people merely thought they were hearing things, but as time went on, it became so loud the vibrations felt like an earthquake. A baby's ghost with its umbilical cord wrapped tightly around its neck was also reported as appearing. Even to this day, they say you can see a baby's ghost in search of something during shadowy moonlight nights. It is imperative you must remember not to follow it, for should you fail to find what the baby wants, it might drag you down into deep darkness instead. Something fell down. A. Extreme dieting death. YM was a senior high school student and she had never been happy with her body. She was excited to become a university student with only the entrance exam standing in her way, but regretting that she wouldn't get to have any campus romance with her kind of body. So she would always say that she was on a diet. The strange thing was that she didn't look overweight to others. The people around her would tease her that she should actually gain a few pounds. Still, YM doubted their words. When she looked in the mirror at the back of the classroom, she only saw an overweight girl. Look at what a pig I am. How could they call me thin? How could they say I could gain a few pounds? The only conclusion that YM could come to was that they were being sarcastic. Just you wait. I will become thin. I'll not eat anything till I am thin. From the day YM didn't eat anything and would only drink water, she became thinner by the day until it was to the point where she was just skin and bones. She barely hardly had any energy to move, but she continued her refusal to eat. When she was forced to eat even just a little, she would run straight to the bathroom and throw it up. She had lost so much weight that watching her walk around the school was a creepy sight. Her friends and teachers, who at first had been worried, began to avoid her. Then one day, a new boy transferred to her class. Wanting to make quick friends, he treated the whole class to pizza and burgers. With the teacher's permission, they served the food in the classroom and held a party. Everyone was able to enjoy the food while relaxing and letting go of their stress of preparing for the college entrance exam. The transfer student spotted YM sitting by herself by the window. Even in his celebratory mood, she was not eating. The thought never occurred to him that she was on a diet. He just figured that she didn't get her share yet, so he brought her one of the remaining burgers, a soda. "No, I'm not eating. I won't eat anything. I'm still fat in the mirror. Can't you see?" YM stood up and shouted with rage as she pointed at the mirror at the back of the classroom. Suddenly, the classroom went quiet. Her face was contorted with anger, and her eyes gleamed with insanity. YM started snickering and looked around her. All the kids' eyes were locked on her in fear. To her, it seemed like they were all staring with eyes filled with disdain. YM stormed out of the classroom screaming. Nobody moved to stop her. In the end, she was found dead in the mountain nearby, having starved to death. Her classmates tried to figure out what YM meant with her last words. What did she mean by the mirror? We don't have a mirror in our classroom. The water barrier is blocking the way to the auditorium.
You! What do you think you're doing there? Nobody ever escapes this school! Die! Let me through! I must get in! I'm begging! My daughter's in there! Let go of me! No! No! You killed her! You killed my daughter! You'll pay for what you did! You're just like them! Tell me why my daughter had to die! It's your turn. Suffer like my child!
My child, I will always protect you.
Hey, what's going on? I heard something fall. That woman is...
She tried to kill me, or it's not my fault.
I'm glad you're not hurt. Thank goodness. We don't have time for this. I heard a scream coming from the lecture hall. I think it was 𝕎𝕬𝕚. I'll go look for Ji-hyun. You go ahead.
Well, that wraps up this video. I am Aries Gaming Goddess. Thanks for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you like. Until next time, bye.